Before we get into this video, have a look there on screen. That is a Joshua versus Dubois, how did we get here, kind of mini documentary style video that I uploaded a couple of hours ago. Listen, I'm really happy with it. It's something me and a mate of mine have been working on, and I'm hoping to do more of these videos, maybe make it a monthly kind of / fortnightly thing. So please have a look there on screen. A lot of work went into it. I personally think it's flipping brilliant. I really do, and a lot of people seem to like it. The link to that will be in the description and it'll be in the comment section as well. So please, I encourage you, have a look of it. The story of Joshua versus Dubois. But now we have the story of Eddie Hearn versus Ben Shalom. Yes, Matchroom versus Boxer, but not in the 5v5, your fighter against mine sort of sense. So a mate of mine sent me a clip from Everything Boxing. Now, Everything Boxing have a very good account on X. They break a lot of news. They comment on fights and stuff like that. They're a very good account. And, you know, they're one of my go-to accounts actually on X to get boxing news with. And they uploaded a little clip of Ben Shalom and Eddie Hearn at the Face-Off press conference the other day. And I was looking at it like, okay, you know, they're posing. And this was immediately after the, you know, press conference and the face-off for Joshua Buatsi versus Willie Hutchinson. Looking at it and I'm thinking there's nothing necessarily out of the ordinary. And then, obviously you can't hear what they're saying, but they certainly don't look best pleased with one another. And there certainly words exchanged that, let's just say they're not wishing each other the best of luck, to say the least. Now, I seen an IFL interview, only a snippet of it, on X today. And they were talking about this altercation. And Eddie Hearn was basically, well, immediately when the interviewer asked about Ben Shalom, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren, who were both there at the time, both just said, who? Which, I just think that's a real shot, you know. Eddie Hearn versus Ben Shalom is man against boy. Frank Warren against Ben Shalom is, you know, the Don against boy. That's really what that is. But they really shut him down. And the interviewer was saying that there was a little bit of an altercation and that Eddie Hearn, you know, said he'd knock Ben Shalom out. And Frank Warren very funnily interjected and just said, I know who I'd put my money on. And I think we all would, Frank, to be honest with you. I really do. But it was an interesting one. And now some of the transcripts are being published on what was said. Now, Ben Shalom told IFL TV, and I'll quote him here directly, he said he was going to knock me out. I thought he wasn't rattled. I said as a joke, I didn't realise this was your fight during the Buatsi face-off. It was literally a joke, but yeah, he wasn't too happy. To be threatened to be knocked out by a guy who's nearly 50 was an interesting one. This obviously stems from the face-off that Joshua Buatsi had with Willie Hutchinson. And obviously, Buatsi at one stage was a Matchroom fighter. He spent the majority of his career at Matchroom from his pro debut up until last year. Well, realistically, 2022. The Craig Richards fight, I believe, was his last fight with Matchroom. He was a Matchroom fighter. So Eddie Hearn, I would imagine, has an affiliation still. Buatsi, they didn't leave, by all accounts, on their acrimonious terms, the way that Lawrence Okoli did. And at the end of the day, Eddie Hearn is part of this show. So even though it's not necessarily his fight, or it's not, you know, Matchroom versus Boxer, it's Queensbury versus Boxer, it is still a show that he's part of. So he was there. Ben Shalom made that comment. Eddie Hearn then told Boxing Social, it was a joke. Really? What are you doing in this picture? I said, I'll knock you out. I felt bad because he froze like a ghost, and now he's doing all these interviews saying he got threatened. He said he was joking. So was I. I spoke to Lost and Found and asked if anyone has found his something hole to let us know. So Eddie Hearn biting back and having a dig at Ben Shalom. As I said at the start of this video, Eddie Hearn versus Ben Shalom is man against boy. Frank against Ben is just the Don. That really is what that is. That would not be a pretty sight at all. Because Frank could just eat Ben Shalom and spit him back out. I'm not talking about fit, I'm just talking about in general. You know, that's what Frank is. But I just don't get it. Like, why would you... Look, I get it that he's not your fighter, but why would you even just say that? Like, I don't know. Ben Shalom is an interesting character. He is someone who... I'll never understand how he got that gig on Sky. And I know his contract is coming up, I think at the end of next year or the start of next year, at some point in 2025. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't stay on Sky, because if you think about it like this, who else do Sky really have that could come in and fill that slot? Because Frank is seemingly happy at TNT, and there's been rumours, and they are rumours, that he could potentially jump ship and move to the zone. At which point TNT, what are they going to do with boxing? Who would step in and fill the void in Sky if Ben Shalom was to leave? You know, is it I can't remember his name. Was he Asif, the guy who does GBM? But he's now running shows on the zone, so it won't be him. So Sky, literally, if they want to keep boxing, they've really only got Ben Shalom, haven't they? So, you know, I still don't know how he got that gig, but Ben Shalom doing what Ben Shalom does, you know, since he's came into boxing, at the start I kind of had high hopes for him. I thought there'd be some growing pains, which there were, but I thought he would eventually come good. And it's just like, say what you want to say about Eddie Hearn, say what you want to say, but he's accessible. He's accessible, and Ben Shalom could say, well, you know, I give interviews too. Well, you give interviews, but no, I've never interviewed Ben Shalom. I'd quite like to, but you can't say this or you can't do. With Eddie Hearn, it's just, there you go. You know, there you go. Simple as. You just ask him a question, he answers it. Ben Shalom, oh, no, you can't ask me that. Or if you do ask me it, cut it out. And stuff like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. If you're letting people in, you should be able to ask you whatever they want. And now we see this where he's just triggering Eddie Hearn. I'd say Eddie Hearn was probably legit serious, looking to see what the response was from Shalom, and he says Ben Shalom froze. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. To be honest with you, it doesn't surprise me. What are your thoughts? These two promoters having a minor kerfuffle. Let's just say it like that. Not even that. Let's say a minor altercation. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it'll have any effect on the fights tomorrow between these guys, Joshua Buatsi, Willie Hutchinson? It shouldn't, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, people, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. And for now, people, I will leave it there. Peace.